Hey plant friends! Welcome back to my channel where the Redford grows. If this is your first time here, my name is Tiffany, and today we are going to attempt to repot my Monstera Deliciosa with a moss pole. Now, this isn't going to be a tutorial because I have never done this before. I have watched copious other planty YouTubers do some more legitimate tutorials. So I have seen a lot of other YouTubers do a variety of different types of moss pole tutorials, and I'll link a couple of those up in the cards for you and or down in the description box below. So first, I'm feeling pretty good because I think I have everything prepared properly and I shouldn't have to get up and go grab anything. So let's go over supplies. We have a Monstera Deliciosa that needs to be repotted very badly. Exhibit A. The leaves at the bottom keep turning yellow because the roots, the leaves at the bottom keep turning yellow because the roots are strangled and they cannot get enough water. Also, at the bottom, roots are coming out, and also the soil is drying out in no time. All of these are indications that it is time to repot, and you should do better than me and not wait as long as I did. I have been quite lazy about this. First, I didn't have the correct supplies, and I had to procure them, which is not as easy to do during the pandemic age. And then also I just had to get the energy, man. Wasn't feeling like it, but here we are, and I've lost many leaves, and that is my own fault. So the first thing I'm gonna do is cut these leaves off. We'll cut off these leaves that are yellow and sad. We don't need them anymore. Try to cut them off at an angle with sharp, clean scissors or a knife. To the side. This one. And oops. 3. Is that all of them? Oh, yeah, I think so. So I got this from an Etsy shop called ThePlantHall in August of last year. So it hasn't even been a full year since I got it, but I'm not sure how long it was already in the pot before. This is also about the right amount of time. 1 year is about the right amount of time to repot. But the other thing with this is I love her, okay? I love her. She's glorious. She has not stopped putting out leaves since I first got her. So I know she's been happy. And the first 2 leaves, the very first 2, when I got her that came out in my home, had fenestrations, right? Here's one. Here's one. This guy. And then this was the second one. All right. And then I'm thinking, because then it started to get colder and the days were shorter, that it just stopped putting out fenestrations because it wasn't getting enough light. And once spring came around, it was still putting out leaves with no fenestrations. So I moved her. She's getting better light now. She's putting out leaves more frequently, but they have not had fenestrations yet, although we have one new one right here. Ooh, this. Hey friends, so we had technical difficulties and my camera cut off in the middle of me recording. Some things have happened, but I'm just gonna jump right back in and I guess tell you everything again. So for the supplies, I already told you need the Monstera. I cut the yellow leaves off. I ended up getting it out of the pot, and then I just sort of, because it's so root bound, I just added a little water to it and let it sit and rest for a moment. Additionally, you will need the soil to repot. I will put a link up in the cards to the video where I show you how I make that. You also will need some kind of pole. It can be anything that won't rot, or that at least won't rot for a while. So I found these dowel rod type things that are allegedly supposed to be used to make s'mores. I don't know if that would work, but this is what I'm using them for. I took 4 of them, I put them together, and then I used this Velcro garden tape to hold them together just temporarily. I have, you can tell, not put it all the way towards the bottom. This is going to be the demarcation for the soil line in the pot. So this is going to go all the way down in the pot, and then the soils end right about here. You don't need any moss on the part at the bottom. That would just be wasteful. Next thing you need is pre-moistened sphagnum moss, long fiber moss. You will also need something to tie with. I have this twine, and I also have this fishing line, just in case. Probably won't use this, but I might need it at the end to do a few like last minute things. You never know, like to be prepared. Oh, and I have some water. I have pre-moistened the soil and the moss, so I shouldn't need it. I actually did end up using it because I needed to moisten the root ball on the Monstera. So that worked out. All right, the plan for the moss pole, which I've already started and I'm actually halfway done with. This is a very rudimentary looking moss pole, but it's gonna do the job, and it doesn't have to be pretty. So I had pre-cut these kind of like long pieces of twine. I'll start with that. I have this propped up on this little box top. So I'm just putting this underneath of the pole. I'm holding that. I am grabbing a handful of the moss. I'm sticking it on top, kind of spreading it out. Then I'm wrapping this around just once or twice, okay, to secure the bundle of moss. Then I'm adding, then you need to tie tightly. Then you're gonna add another bundle of moss to the other side underneath, and then I'll continue to wrap the entire segment until I use up this entire piece of twine, and then I'll tie that off, and then you just repeat that until you get all the way at the end. Guys, I think it looks pretty good. I mean, like, you know, has these crazy ones that need to be cut off. Just do that right now. There are a couple spots where the moss is a little thin, like right here, and if I'm really that concerned about it, I can always add some more moss and tie another little section of it on. Not a big deal. It's kind of skinny, but honestly, for my first try, I feel like this is good. So now, let's repot. I'm gonna add some of my pre-moistened soil to here. You guys know how to pot, right? I fill it up about 1/3 of the way, depending on the size of your root ball. I'll put like one more handful in. I don't want to mess with them too much, but I do want to squeeze these roots just a bit, just so they know, like, hey, you're not trapped anymore. You're free. You can expand. Put the pole in first, I guess. All right, so majority of the aerial roots are on this side, so I'm gonna put that side toward the pole. If this wasn't so root bound, I might have tried to split up the plants and then put the pole sort of more in the center. But I don't think it's worth trying to rip these roots apart, honestly. So the other reason we have these garden ties is because I need to train this onto the pole. All right, so I'm going to take some of the pieces, particularly the ones that have aerial roots, and use the little strappies, the garden Velcro ties, to just attach them on there and train them onto the pole. Okay. You could also do this with twine if you want, but I think this is easier because you can remove them. And then just move them up if you need to. If you need to adjust for the size or anything, it just makes it a little easier to use these, I think. And I will link these products down below in the description box for you as well. I lost my scissors for a second. We see other aerial roots besides the huge ones. All right, here, this big guy's got two, so we'll strap that one against it. Okay. All right, so make sure these new leaves that are coming out don't get squished. Just sort of rearrange these in a way where you think they look nice, or whatever's going to work for your space. Now that I've got this pretty sturdy, I'm just going to backfill in the rest of the pot. Ah, that's what I forgot. I didn't bring a spoon or anything. Hold on, let's use my hand. Making sure you're getting it, like this is kind of a tighter repot because it only went up like 3/4 of an inch, which may not have been the move, but it's done now. And I'm sorry, don't come for me. Make sure you get the pole like wedged in there really well and compact that soil in around the pole so it doesn't get wiggly. The moss is still quite damp, so I'm not going to moisten that anymore. And like I said, I will link all the products I used in this down in the description box below. So if you want to pick them up for yourself, you can do that. And I will link some additional videos that show you different types of moss poles you can make, because there are a lot of variations. You can also make them without moss, but the moss is a little bit better for the aerial roots to actually grow into. You could just wrap a whole dowel rod with some of this and it would still be helpful. So here we go, friends. So far, so good. Leave me a comment down below if you've made your own moss pole before. Let me know how you think this turned out, and please give me some tips for the next time. Thanks so much for watching, you all, especially if you made it all the way to the end. Really appreciate it. You can follow me on Instagram at whereTheRedford And if you enjoyed this video, please click the thumbs up to like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. You can hit the notification bell to get reminders as soon as I release my videos that come out about once a week. Thanks, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye.